The bartender looks as though he knows.
So you want to do this shit tonight because it might hurt, baby, you know what I'm saying?
Everybody's made it home.
It might hurt you when I get up in the morning and leave.
I was just always super into radio. I loved New York hip hop radio. I love sports talk radio. I just really loved radio. I love the medium of it. I thought it was a comforting, warm media, you know? And so I always was super into it. And then it was really when Flex got going that I was like, all right, I want to do straight up hip hop stuff. And yeah, that's where it started. And then probably when I really knew I wanted to be a hip hop DJ for sure, it was probably like 14 or 15, something like that. PMD is my original DJ name. I got the name listening to the radio in New York. I was listening to WBLS and Marley Marl's radio show, and I won a contest. And when I won it was for EPMD's cassette single for So What You Sayin'. Probably came out well before you guys were born. Not well before, but close to around when you guys were born. Yeah? What year were you born?
94.
Woo! Well before you were born. That was their second album. And when I won, they said Peter from Maryland. And thank you, Mike. And when they said Peter from Maryland, that became PMD, and so that was like my de facto rap name for a long time. I'm a mix. Like sometimes I do a lot of research, and sometimes even if I only know a limited amount about the person, that's how I leave it when I meet them. Right. Because I look at my position like I'm gonna know them over time, and I just document it the way it is, which is kind of douchey when you think about it, because I don't treat myself as like an interviewer who should necessarily be prepared. Mm-hmm. I treat myself as I am the person that I am. Right. People come to hear what I have to say about it, and if I don't necessarily know it that well, that's the conversation we're going to have, and then over time it will evolve. Which isn't probably the best way to handle things journalistically.
You definitely learn from the artist that way, so that's always...
Yeah, no, I just find out what it is. So sometimes people are like, you didn't know, you interviewed Schoolboy Q, and you had never heard Habits and Contradictions? I'm like, not when I mean, now he's one of the artists I know best. The first time I had him, all I questioned him about was him making Hands on the Wheel, and is that a pro-drinking and driving song? And a lot of people were super upset, like, how do you... But, like, you can't... I don't think that I should have the same knowledge base of every stand of every artist. That's not my job. My job is to keep an eye on the culture overall and ask questions about it and help introduce artists. My job isn't to, be the number one fan from the beginning of every artist. I used to try to do that. It's just impossible. Yeah. Like when I was your guys' age, doing college radio, I knew everything about every single person who came out. A, there was way less people back then. And B, I had way more time on my hands. But now between the fact that I have to do the morning show, which is like a jobby job, and the hip hop stuff, which is kind of my fun thing I do just for the love, it's a lot of time. So I just kind of, but it depends. But then if you have someone who you know is really established who's coming in, and you just may not be that familiar, but you know they're a G, then I will do my due diligence, obviously. Oh, broadcast journalism.
Broadcast journalism. Okay, awesome. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. So
I didn't do anything. Yeah. I didn't do anything. But my internships did. My internships got me jobs.
That's what they stress the most.
Yes.
We all have to have them before we leave.
Yeah, no, like I don't know if anyone gets the job. Now, I'm sure it helps maybe to become like someone who runs a newsroom or something, but for on air, I don't think the broadcast degree does that much. But the experience helped, and I learned editing skills and stuff like that I still have.
Right. What's your experience been like?
Ridiculous that info would even suggest anything like that. It is a bit of a mess. It is corporate. That said, there's still really great music and up-and-coming artists. So, like, there are all these big companies throwing tons of money at South by.
Doritos.
Pepsi. Well, Pepsi is Doritos. Anyways, a lot of people throwing money at it. Car companies, headphone companies, but ultimately they're still trusting a lot of other people who know better to pick the artists. So you still get a ton of amazing artists. You just kind of have to like get past the amount of corporate sponsorship that's here, which is weird. But I do think it's still. But we do love corporate sponsorship. That's right. We love it so much we didn't even have any on our showcase this year. But for future reference, we would love to have that. Because like, for example, Fader Fort may be the most corporate event there is here in terms of how much sponsorship there is, but it's the best event. They get the best artists. They choose themselves. They just happen to have great relationships with companies. They get companies to believe in their vision, and then they do an awesome fader for it with up-and-coming artists who deserve shine. So I hear what Info's saying, and the whole thing is, don't get me wrong, South by has gotten annoying. This is our 6th time here. It has changed a lot, but there's still awesome stuff here. I slowed down on eBay because I started digging so much.
Yeah.
This is for the 45s. Oh my God, what a great interview you're gonna get. Oh, I have my 45s right here
on the case.
I have my case with me, my
Live.
Rich Medina 45 case that I love so much.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I have any eBay purchases in here that these might be eBay. Yeah, a few of these are eBay. You want to talk hip hop? These are not hip hop. So you want to see hip hop? That's not hip hop. That's CC Peniston. Finally, it happened to me right in front. And then Homeless. Dun 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 dun. T.I. Why You Want Us? That
Samples that.
T.I. sampled that. Show Me Love. The new the Kid Ink record. This is the original of the Kid Ink record. All dance records. But you know what's a good eBay one? Here's an Amazon one, not eBay. You ask eBay.
Yeah.
This you want to show your treat right here. An American pressing promo off Amazon, which isn't really known for records.
Right.
Of Summer in the City by Quincy Jones. Better,
awesome.
Also known as The Far Side, Passing Me By Beat, and many other things. And this is not common. I don't know how I found this on Amazon.
Promotional copy?
Yeah,
That it says?
it's a promo. I have no idea the value of this one.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've been chilling on eBay more recently and just going to stores and digging a lot more.
Yeah.
But as you can see, I love it. I feel I'm rejuvenated as a collector, and I think it's really important. Like I explained this to my wife when my wife, if she ever trips out about my records,
Right.
I'm like, here's the thing, without the record collecting, without the whole record collecting and everything, I'm just a talking guy.
Guy on the radio.
And yeah, and at some point to me, that makes me like the other people who do it, and they really just chatter but don't do anything in the culture. Like, I put on the shows for free. I try to put on artists just for the sake of putting them on, but also just from like the straight love of just spending time listening to records. Like, I can't ever let go of that. I can't. The second to me that I stop spending money and time on hip hop, I'm not really living it anymore.
Right.
Then you become out of touch. And even though it's bizarre because the records I'm digging are now 40 years old,
right.
But to me, it's still what keeps me in touch now is that I'm still active and pursuing and growing in my knowledge of hip hop. I don't think I can stop and just be. So even if someone gets mad because I don't know, the newest. I didn't hear Fat Trell's new record yet. I was digging that day. You know what I'm saying? Learning about some classic shit.
Exactly.
So it is. Shout out to Fat Trell though. Happy you got a deal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The first important one, I had a few that I really cared about on the college station WMUC. This was back in the day when you guys wouldn't know anything about this. The record companies had whole college promo departments, and you would get interviews sent to you at your college radio stations.
I wish.
People would send you vinyl to your college radio stations. Like, all this stuff happened. And so I had some good stuff up there, but the first real great one was at WPGC, my first commercial gig in DC. It was a Saturday night I was hosting, and I got Outkast. I got the whole Dungeon family.
That's amazing.
All in studio by myself. Yeah, and I was like brand new, and it was live on the radio in DC. And I had never done any. All I did at the time was like, hey, it's WPGC 95.5, Blazing 18 jams in a row. We got to blah, blah, blah. Coming up next. See you then.
Yeah.
And they were like, Outkast in town. It's on a Saturday night. It's during your shift. You can do it.
Just gonna walk in.
They're just gonna walk in. And I still have a Source magazine they signed because they were on the cover of the Source at the time.
That's awesome.
And I told them it was my first interview. I gotta find it. Yo, how that's not framed is insane. I don't know where this is. I think it says Andre. I think wrote tight interview, and Big Boy wrote very professional. No, I don't get nervous before interviews really. Sometimes the live ones are a little weird. Yeah, no, not particularly. I feel like, I don't know, it's taken a long time, but now I'm finally at the point where I realize that these cats know me when they come to do the interview.
Yeah.
So a lot of times new artists particularly are more nervous to come see me than I am to see them.
Yeah, like, oh, you're on Peter Rosenberg.
Right, they're like,
right.
oh, I've been watching your videos, now here I am, like, or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't really get nervous anymore. I mean, I was excited when I interviewed Eminem, but I wasn't nervous. We went out to Detroit. I was nervous a few minutes ago when I'm going to tell you the story in full. I'll just give you guys a snippet. When Jay-Z just called me when I was leaving my hotel room. That's never happened before. That was nervous. And when I figured out it was actually him, I had to sit down in the hallway and try to figure out what the hell was going on.
Take a moment.
Take a moment.
Take a breather.
Yeah, that was a little nuts.
Yeah.
So I was nervous for a second there.
Yeah, understandably.
Yeah, when someone just goes, it's Hove, and you don't believe it, and you're laughing, you're like, and then, I wasn't even laughing, I didn't know what he was talking about, I was kind of just getting annoyed. I'm like, all right, what's up? There's no caller ID, I'm holding my bag, I'm in South, I don't know what's going on. And then you figure it out, that's a little nutty.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really get nervous right now. Well, there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of clutter in the market. There's a lot going on. So do something to differentiate yourself. Like, you have an amazing opportunity to be able to make content and put it out in ways that I could have only dreamed about when I was young. Like, I was making tapes in my room just to play for my friends. That was the only option. There wasn't like, I can go on Ustream and potentially people could find this. I would have been almost as on as I am now anyway if I'd grown up in the internet era, because of the amount that I wanted to do it and the access that people have to it. So the question is, do you have the drive to make yourself separate from what everyone else does and have good content that doesn't seem internet worthy but seems broadcast worthy? I think ultimately, even though there is a difference and everyone knows that, so everyone will get gassed off of doing their stuff on the internet, but everyone knows they want to be on a television channel or a radio channel. It's still ideal. It's still seen in that way. So do you have content that you think is worthy of that, even if it only lives online? And just finding a way to do it differently so you're not like everyone else who's out there. Those are my recommendations, brother.
That was it. That was perfect.
Thanks, guys.